What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Pitch Catch Pod. My name is Eli Swice,
And I'm Joey Fernandez.
and today we're going to be talking about the World Series that just happened and also going through some of our hot takes for next year. So make sure to stay with us to hear those hot takes. But first, let's get into the World Series. Um, Let me just get your overall thoughts on the whole thing.
I thought it was a really solid series. I, I mean, the outcome that I predicted definitely didn't come true,
Hmm.
but I'm definitely not mad at it at all. I was definitely like out of personal interest, I was rooting for the Braves. I was just, I didn't think it would go this way personally. I didn't expect Houston's bats to shut down. I mean, I don't want to say all of the series, obviously, because they still won two games. But
Hmm.
I mean, a lot of the series, the Braves pitching staff came out extremely. I don't even know how to describe it. Very, very solid, I'll say.
Yeah.
Um, and I was not surprised, but I was shocked, I guess, at how the Braves bats came out pretty hot for basically all of the series.
Yeah, I predicted the Braves to win. I believe I predicted them in seven, not six. So
Mhm.
that was quite a surprise. But yeah, I'm ecstatic. I think I was telling you when it was happening, seeing them win, like the amount of happiness I felt, it was as if like I was born and raised a Braves fan. Just
Yeah.
seeing them do it, for people like Freddie Freeman, who definitely deserve a ring, and then for someone like Acuna, to not even play, I think he deserves a ring already for what he's done. It's a shame we couldn't see him, but it just makes me happy knowing that they all went out and won it for him, which was really cool. Overall, a great series. I mean, the things that stood out to me, pitching for the Braves. I mean, the bullpen was just absolutely remarkable. They somehow managed to win a bullpen game in pretty decisive fashion, which is very impressive against an Astros team. Due to some Astros, hitters going cold and some big hits by the Atlanta Braves, and it's kind of funny. We got Jock Peterson, who was the hero of the NLDS, former Cub, and then we got World Series MVP, former Cub Jorge Soler. So former Cubs are popping off everywhere. I mean, we just develop them and let the other teams do their work with them. But we can get into game by game just real quick. Obviously, the
Yeah.
first game, Braves won 6-2. Charlie Morton came out and pitched, and he was cruising, and then he gets hit with a ground ball, and I'm not. What was the? Do you remember the exact injury? Was it a broken like fibula or tibula, something like that?
Yeah, it was something. Yeah, I can't say I
Yeah,
was the best at anatomy,
he
so
ended up getting a couple more outs and striking out Jose Altuve on seemingly a broken leg, which
yeah. And he's
it's
pumping
pretty
too, by the way.
he was pumping. It's actually unreal that he was able to do that
I
and
know.
still stay in the game. And I'm sure if it was up to him, he probably would have tried to go back out there. But in the best interest, they took him out, and it was surprising. Literally, like what 20 minutes later, the news broke out that he's going to miss the rest of the series. And
Yeah.
let me know what you thought. Right as that happened, because personally, I was a little worried.
Yeah, I mean, I thought this like selfishly, I thought that my prediction was gonna even more so come true with
Hmm.
Astros in five. But I mean, they didn't really like I thought this was gonna be like a huge burden on them, but they didn't really skip a beat. I don't know,
No.
the rest of their pitching staff just kind of picked them up, it seemed like I mean, immediately after they only gave up two runs that whole game. Tyler Matzik surprisingly was one of the people who gave up a run in that somehow.
Hmm.
But uh, besides that, everyone else was pretty locked down. I mean, AJ Minter comes in, pitches basically three innings of just one run ball, and then everyone else picks him up afterwards. I mean that was pretty impressive to me. When once they did that, especially in Houston, it felt like the series was going to be kind of a dogfight, you know. Um,
Yeah.
and then and then going into game two, the Astros kind of came back and punched them in the mouth a little bit and
Hmm.
showed them the kind of firepower that they could have. So that's kind of like in my head there after game two, it kind of felt like, man, maybe this could go seven, like you predicted. But I mean, after game two, it kind of just it felt like the Braves kind of had control of it for basically all of the rest of the series after that.
Yeah, it was pretty weird. In game two, obviously, Max Fried gets lit up, and
Uh-huh.
you're thinking to yourself, Morton's out for the rest of the series. Fried doesn't look good. They still got Anderson, but
Yeah,
like, wow, like how are the Braves going to keep up? And that was something I was thinking to myself. You really saw the Astros bats come alive, which they did a lot of the postseason. For most of their games, they had some offensive explosions.
yeah,
Um, as a betting man, the Astros helped in getting the overs for most of these
it was
games.
pretty automatic for a while.
Yeah, and after game two, it was like, okay, they tied it up. At least we get three in Atlanta, but is Fried gonna come out and pitch well? Is he even gonna pitch at all in Atlanta? Which obviously he came out and pitched back in Houston, but
Mhm.
just thinking like, what are the Braves gonna do? I mean, they got to put up
Yeah,
runs on this team, and then they come out and you know, Ian Anderson. I think Ian Anderson deserves more credit than he's getting. He's shaping up to be, in my opinion, in the next 2-3 years, we're looking at like maybe a top five, top seven pitcher in the NL.
oh yeah,
I mean, just taking into account his playoff resume, he's up there already. He's been very impressive.
yeah. It wasn't the most dominant start ever in Game 3,
Hmm.
but he still got the job done. He did more than enough to help his team win. Obviously, not even giving up a hit. Obviously, had some walks in there, but I mean, he did his job. 5 innings in the playoffs, 5 innings of shutout ball. It goes a really long way in the playoffs,
Hmm.
especially. I mean, you really can't ask for much more, because especially with how much momentum the bullpen had riding into it. I mean, all they needed was five, and I don't want to say the game was basically over, but it kind of felt like it in some ways, especially with how good their back end was pitching just overall.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I mean, they held the Astros to 2 hits,
Yeah,
and pitching usually in the playoffs. I mean, if your starter goes five, you're not expecting your bullpen to go four shutout with 2 hits against the Houston Astros, and
yeah,
I mean, they brought out the firepower. These were the guys that really helped them. We got Minter, Jackson, Matzik, and Will Smith. I mean, that four-headed monster really really did their job, and it just goes to show how important a bullpen is. I think most baseball players, or I mean, most baseball fans understand it. But
yeah,
if the Braves have one guy in there who messes up, I mean, they only won by 2 runs. That could have gone either way, and that's a decisive game in the series. You don't want to lose an Ian Anderson start, especially when Morton's out and Fried didn't look the best in his first game. So, credit to them.
yeah.
If you could give a whole section of a team an award, the Braves bullpen deserves some consideration there because that was huge for them.
Yeah, no doubt. I think another underrated part of the bullpen, technically, was Kyle Wright in this series.
Oh yeah,
Uh, yeah, I think he strung together a lot of big time innings for them, especially in Game 4, with
oh yeah,
the surprise start of Dylan Lee, who was clearly an opener, but him coming out and obviously not doing as great as he would have wanted to. But I think Kyle Wright going out there, and I mean, he got hit a little bit, obviously, but I mean, 4 2/3 is nothing, nothing to be mad about, especially with the depleted starting rotation in a way because of Charlie Morton, because obviously they were planning on him pitching to maybe even the end of a third game. So
yeah.
uh, I think he deserves some praise personally, but I just wanted to bring his name up in
Yeah,
there.
yeah, I definitely think he deserves, he was MVP of that game, or he could at least be considered. I
Mhm.
mean, just looking at how big that is for a team, to go 4 2/3, especially when you have these guys, like we mentioned before, they're really good bullpen pitchers. It's tough to throw them out every single game and not expect some sort of regression, especially if,
Yeah,
let's say, Chris Martin has to go 2 innings. Now can he pitch the next game? It's the stuff like that going 4 2/3 basically as the starter. I mean, he only came in after 1 out. It's huge, and you're only down 2 runs, and the Braves can score more than 2 runs. We've seen that, and they've had some big hits. Greinke had a good start in that game.
yeah.
Unfortunately, Christian Javier blew it for them late. But it's just impressive to see what
Yeah,
the Braves did there.
Yeah, I think Zach Greinke deserves a lot of credit for
Hmm.
how he was in that start. Because obviously he wasn't pitching much before that. He was coming out of the bullpen, and to the end of the regular season, he really didn't pitch at all. So, for him to come out there and throw a 4 shutout was pretty huge for Houston. Obviously, it didn't work out, but I think he deserves a lot of credit for that. Um, I mean, I think Houston's pitching showed up pretty well, honestly.
Hmm.
I mean, the offense went cold, obviously, but the Braves didn't put up like outrageous amount of runs every like a lot of games. You know, they
Hmm.
only they only had really 2 games where they scored like a lot of runs. You know, so
Yeah.
I think the Astros pitching held it together pretty well. But I think it was obviously their lineup that really couldn't help them out much.
Yeah. I mean, the playoffs are all about winning the close games, and
Mm.
one hit, one pitch can change the whole game. And we even
Yeah.
saw this with the Brewers and the Dodgers series. The Braves weren't killing them; they were just winning the close ones. Obviously, they had a couple walk-offs versus the Dodgers,
Mhm.
and in the Braves Brewers matchup, pitching was king, and barely any runs were scored, and they were just edging out the Brewers. It's that's the difference maker. The Braves drop a couple of these close games. Now you're looking at the Astros going back to Houston leading. You never know what's going to happen. So props to them for winning the close games. That's what matters. The blowouts are cool. Um, it's the close games that matter, in my opinion, especially when they're one or two runs, which the Braves definitely took advantage of. But going to Game 5 now, this is a pretty important game,
Yeah.
and we got another bullpen game for the Braves, and unfortunately they didn't win. Um, you get some people, not with their best stuff. AJ Minter obviously giving up 3 runs.
Yeah.
This was just a game where um, the Astros needed to win, obviously, and once you saw them explode like this, people were a little less comfortable with the fact that the Braves might have locked up the World Series.
Yeah, I'd say I was probably one of those people.
Hmm.
I thought the Braves, since they lost this game pretty handedly, I must say, especially
Hmm.
with the Astros offense coming out and scoring 9 runs, it's like, man, I mean, if they get hot again, I mean, how can you really beat them, you know?
Yeah.
Because they always just have that potential. So, uh, them coming out and doing that, I thought that they had to win Game 6, to close it out. If they went to a Game 7, I saw not zero chance, but I thought it was going to be really tough for them to win in Houston in a Game 7,
Hmm.
for many reasons. But yeah, I don't know. This game didn't prove to be as much of a swing as you would think, though. They're just looking at like if you just looked at the box score and assumed that the Astros were gonna go back to Houston and come back and maybe win the series.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely was interesting, seeing that game. Like you said, the Braves obviously choking the 3-1 to the Dodgers last year. It's kind of giving you some, flashbacks of
Yeah,
uh, are they able to get it done? And, gun to my head, game 7, you got to take the Astros there. You got to
yeah,
think that
exactly.
they're going to come out with, especially at home, you got to think that they're going to come out with some firepower. Then we get to game 6, and that was yesterday at the time of this recording, and Max Fried just threw all the doubts away. He was phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean he was carving, uh, to say the least.
Mhm.
Like as soon as he settled in and started getting some calls, that maybe weren't strikes, but he kind of earned it. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like
Yeah.
with him painting so well and commanding the strike zone, the umpire started to expand a little bit for him. So obviously that helps, but I think after a while, once they started realizing that, like he got a couple of calls on a fastball low on Bregman, I believe, for strike 3.
Mhm.
Then that was when it was kind of like, oh, he's settled in. Like
Yeah.
it's gonna be tough to score off him. You're gonna have to get him out of the game as quick as you can. But I mean, by the time they got him out of the game, it I don't want to say it's out of reach, but it was 6-0.
Mhm.
And it's kind of an uphill battle at that point.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, especially with the Soler coming out and just absolutely destroying a ball.
That thing was crazy.
I don't care what the distance was. That was 850 feet,
Yeah.
just
No.
with the magnitude and just I don't know. There's something so satisfying about seeing the ball just land on top of train tracks or over it.
Yeah, no. That stadium, I think
I,
I
I
don't
I
know.
also don't like that stadium, but keep going.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think I'm in the minority. I actually think it's a pretty cool stadium, especially with that part of the stadium and being able to hit it out, right above the windows and above the train and above that short wall.
Uh,
I think it just looked sick.
yeah,
So,
I see what you're saying. I don't know. I don't know. It's just so weird to me. I'm not a fan, but I can see the appeal, I guess, with the as
mhm.
far as the train tracks and all that stuff go. I think Dansby's home run was pretty satisfying too. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
Just seeing the ball like go all the way up to the top and then just slowly fall down to the
yeah,
fence. I don't know. I
yeah.
don't know why that's so cool to me.
No, I know. Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And then I wanted to get your thoughts on so the Astros have come back from deficits before. Obviously, the game before this, Duvall hits a grand slam in the first inning, and I didn't think the game was over. Obviously, there's 9 innings in baseball, but I was
Or
like, wow, that's a big lead in the first inning, and it's going to be really tough. And then the Astros just responded and ended up beating them pretty handedly.
uh-huh.
When the Soler home run happened, I didn't get that same feeling. I was kind of like, okay, good start, but we need to just hold on here. It wasn't one of those where I'm like, it didn't really raise my confidence too much. What about you?
I just want to make a comment on the Wii usage right there. But uh, yeah, I'm super like I don't know. It just when it comes to any sort of sports, baseball especially, if my team or the team I'm rooting for goes up early or just in general, I never get my hopes up ever.
Hmm.
Because I know it's such a long game, and baseball is one of the probably the craziest sports when it comes to this kind of stuff. So I I'm super into like it's not over till it's over. Personally, especially with a team literally as high powered as the Astros, it's
Hmm.
literally never over till it's over. Like I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, if it's like 8 runs plus, then it's like all right. But I mean, you really never feel comfortable with that lineup. I mean, even Martin Maldonado was hitting, so you
Yeah.
when he's hitting, it's a little scary when there's no easy outs.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. No timer in baseball. There's always time, which is a beautiful thing, but the Astros didn't take advantage of it.
No.
They got shut out, which is it kind of pushed the cherry on top for me. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not like a super Astros hater, but I didn't want them to win personally. So just seeing them getting basically slaughtered in the last game and at their home field and shut out, seeing Correa in the Nationals uniform for probably excuse me, probably the last time, it was pretty sweet. I can't lie.
Yeah, I agree with that. I like I said, I'm not really a huge Astros hater. I respect their talent. I think they're a great team. I'm
Oh
not
yeah.
gonna take anything away from them. I'm not one of those people that just like hate them just because of all that cheating and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Like it's in the past. I'm past it. But I mean, I they just got outplayed. That's
Yeah.
simple as that. They worked hard to get here. They beat the Red Sox pretty handedly. It was close for a while. They beat the White Sox. I mean, they blew them out of the water.
Hmm.
Sad to say, but
Hmm.
I mean, they earned their place here, and I mean, Atlanta caught fire at the right time, so props to them. But
Yeah.
do you have any other thoughts on the series?
Just thinking back, it's really ridiculous how this team won. If we
Facts.
can get into some of the people they're missing, obviously Acuna, which that alone is ridiculous. I mean, he is a top, let's just say conservatively top five. I think he's probably more along the top three.
Yeah, that's what
Um,
I'm thinking too.
yeah, they're missing a superstar. I mean, that's big in itself. Then you take into account Marcelo Zuna, he's a good player, and then
Mhm.
Soroka, who's a really good pitcher. They didn't have him for the whole year. I think the credit needs to go to the GM. I forgot his name. Anthropoulos, is that correct?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
I was hoping you'd say because I can't pronounce it like that.
yeah. He played a huge part. I mean, without those acquisitions, I don't think there's any chance the Braves do this. And it's kind of ridiculous because when it happened, when all those trades happened, I thought to myself, what are they doing? I mean, yeah, Jorge Soler's good. Duvall's pretty good. Rosario's decent. Like But like, are the Braves even gonna make the playoffs? Like, they're going
Mhm.
so hard right now. Looking back on it, they got a lot of those players for nothing. I mean, the Eddie Rosario trade was pretty ridiculous in my opinion, but I mean, just seeing some of those acquisitions, and it's funny because those acquisitions were like the stars of the whole playoffs. So just it really it really made me happy to see a GM recognize that his team has the potential and he just went for it. Like, if we lose, we lose. He just went crazy at the trade deadline and getting all those players. It was a difference. And I think it should show that more GMs should take this into account. Just because you're not the Dodgers or the Astros or any of these super high, power teams, if you have a little bit of a shot, why not go for it? I mean, baseball is a game where, you know, teams that aren't expected to win all the time. I mean, the Nationals, take into account in 2019, they had like a losing record in the first month. So like, just seeing these teams that going into the year, you would think I'm crazy if I told you they would win the World Series. I think it should show other GMs that you just got to go for it if you have the talent.
Yeah, I was a fan of the Jock trade, just
Mm-hmm.
because I mean I like his postseason experience, and if they got there, then I mean I thought he would help. Eddie Rosario, I was kind of like, okay, sure,
Mm-hmm.
just because I'd seen him play a lot with Minnesota and Cleveland, and I was never particularly impressed with him. He had some pretty good years
Mm-hmm.
with Minnesota, but I was never like, oh wow, like he's spectacular, you know.
Yeah.
So I was like, I guess, but it really didn't move the needle for me personally. But
Mm-hmm.
obviously I was proved wrong in the playoffs. But besides that, Jorge Soler was like nice, I guess, but I didn't really see where he would even play because obviously there's no DH in the NL, and that's
Yeah.
what he primarily was in Kansas City. So I mean, props to them for just kind of. I don't even want to say like they were dart throws, but they kind of were with what they gave up. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like
Yeah.
they could have easily not panned out, and we would have forgot they even played for them most
Yeah.
likely. You know, so I mean that's massive props to the GM. I mean I can't think of a better trade deadline as far as impact in the
Oh, yeah.
postseason in a long time. I'm sure there's been other scenarios
I
similar to this,
mean,
but
yeah, I would definitely agree with that, but I guess I don't think it's a biased take, but I think the Cubs going out and getting Chapman was
oh yeah,
the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
deciding factor. But going out and getting like Chapman's a huge name. Going out and getting decent players, seemingly on a team where you don't have your best player, you don't have one of your best pitchers, you lost a really good outfielder. I'm not even sure if the Braves were in first place at the time. Uh, they
I
they
believe the
must have
Mets were.
yeah, they must have been floating around second or third, but or at least contending for first. But it wasn't a team where it's like, they're even a lock for the playoffs,
Yeah,
which is really interesting.
they were under 500 at the All-Star break.
Yeah.
So I mean, they definitely had an uphill battle at the time. Yeah, what I meant more so with the trade deadline and not being able to remember it is more like they revamped a whole part of their team
Mm-hmm.
at a trade
Yeah.
deadline with multiple players, and all of them panned out, which is kind
Yeah,
of cool.
very true. Yeah, it's really incredible that all four of them had, big parts in winning this.
Yeah,
And, as a Cubs fan, there were multiple teams I was rooting for just for like the storyline, like the Giants with Chris Bryant. I like a lot of the Giants players, but I want Chris to get another ring. And
yeah,
then, in the American League side, I was rooting for the Rays, but once they got knocked out, I was on the Red Sox train because I want Schwarber to get a ring. And as a Cubs fan, I couldn't really think of a much better team to do this now because obviously Jock Peterson was with us for a short time, and I grew to really like him. I think I said this when we first acquired him. I wasn't really a huge fan of him. I said he's going to have to prove it to me that he's he's worth my time, and he got off to a really slow start, but really picked it up, and I just loved his personality and
you
what
love
he
that
did
guy like that
outside.
around.
Yeah, what he did outside of the field. So I was very happy that he won, and it's kind of crazy that he won. Uh, he's won two in a row, so good for him. And then Jorge Soler, who obviously won a ring with us, he was he was one of those guys we really thought was going to be with the Cubs forever. Just didn't really pan out. Change of scenery, turned into a really solid player, and won the MVP, which I couldn't be more happy for him. So I, I I don't know. I'm extremely happy with this World Series. I think it was fantastic. I think the postseason in general is pretty good.
Yeah.
Can't really complain about anything. And yeah, I mean, how can you not love the storyline? So overall, I would just and Freddie Freeman. I don't think there's anyone you should be more happy for than him. I mean, just being with the organization for what 13 years. I mean, he should resign. He should be a Brave for life, and there's going to be a statue of him outside of Truist Park
No
when
doubt.
he retires.
You really gotta love stories like this.
Hmm.
This is very comparable to the 2019 Nationals.
Hmm.
As far as like the underdog story with some lovable players on the team, and everyone kind of like rallies behind them as soon as they realize that maybe they have some sort of hope.
Hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I mean, how could you not? How could you not like a team like that?
Yeah. No, I agree. So congratulations to the Braves. If there's any Braves fans watching, let us know. But yeah, I'm sure you didn't expect to win, and neither did most of the world, but you did it. So congratulations. Before we wrap up, let's get into 5 of our hot takes going into next year. These could be completely wrong looking at it in a year ahead, but we kind of want to stir the pot a little bit. The off season is going to be crazy this year. We don't know what's going to happen. um so we're just going to go with some crazy hot takes. We'll start off with you. If you're fine with that, you can go through yours
Okay.
and we'll talk about each one.
Do you want to get real juicy, or do you want me to save that and go a little basic at first? What do you think?
um start slow,
Okay.
if
Okay.
if yours kind of flows that way.
Well, I kind of feel like kind of a douche for doing this right now after what we just talked about, but I have the New York Mets winning the division next year.
I don't want to spoil any of my hot takes, but I have an exact same one as that, which is kind of
Really?
crazy. Yeah.
I
But
feel
yeah,
like I feel like I'm like killing the mood, but like
no, let's talk about that. What made you say that? Because I got some opinions as well.
I think that Steve Cohen's an extremely aggressive owner, as he's shown, and I think that he's not gonna put up with not winning. So I
Hmm.
think that he's gonna make some major improvements to the team, and I don't know about spending big, but he's gonna go out of his way to make sure that they're more successful than this year. And they were on the right path for the most part. They
Hmm.
kind of just fell apart towards August and September because they were leading the division from what I remember for they were at least close or
Yeah,
leading for most of the season. So
yeah,
they kind of just fell off in September heavily. So with healthy DeGrom back, I see no reason why they shouldn't be able to compete at least.
yeah, for sure. We're going to be getting into in a different episode all our free agent predictions. So
Yeah.
let's not give away too much, but are there any make or break re-signs slash additions that you're taking into account here?
Um, I mean, obviously, they have a couple guys or a few guys that I can think of that are coming up as free agents. Stroman,
Mhm.
Baez, Conforto,
Yeah,
and I could easily see them
Syndergaard,
keeping.
I believe.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. But I didn't even think about him because he hasn't been on the team in so
Yeah,
long. But uh, I think they keep at least two of those guys, and then the other one gets replaced with some sort of free agent or trade acquisition. So I I definitely see them recouping talent more. I would say,
yeah,
and I see them uh, not really standing for having another unsuccessful season. I'll put it that way.
yeah, for sure. Let's move on to your next one.
Uh, I have well, this is another Mets related one. I don't know if you'll agree with this, but Lindor as a top 5 in MVP voting next year.
Okay. I mean, I could see it.
It's not a
Um,
crazy hot take or anything like that, but
yeah.
considering the season he just had, I feel like
Hmm.
it's a little contested.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he has the skill set. Although, if you look at his last 2 to 3 years, it doesn't really live up to the Lindor name.
No, no, no.
So I can definitely see a rebound year. That's kind of a good sign in a way. Um,
Mhm.
Especially if they get some acquisitions, the team starts heating up, the overall morale just gets better. I feel like there was a lot of issues off the field, not with Lindor, but in terms of dealing with Cohen and just losing the Javier Baez booze, a lot of distractions. So if they can
Yeah,
flush those out and Lindor can really lock in, he can really show us why he got that much money.
yeah. I think he has a season similar to like 2017, 2018, where he has an 850 to 900 OPS around
Hmm.
there. with Gold Glove caliber defense, maybe 20 stolen bases and 30 and 100. I think
Yeah.
they could easily get him top 5 in MVP voting because the voters love their counting stats. So
Yeah.
I'm taking that into account along with the New York. I don't want to say bias, but like the writers love some good New York baseball. I'll put it
Yeah.
that way.
No, I could definitely see that happening. Wouldn't say it's. I would still classify it as a hot take just because it shouldn't happen,
Yeah,
but it's definitely something. If it did happen, I wouldn't be like I totally wasn't expecting this. But I think that's a really good
yeah.
one.
Those I'm going least juicy to most
Mm-hmm.
juicy. So
Yeah, let's
I'm
go on to the
heating
next
up
one.
here. Next I got Key Brian Hayes winning the Platinum Glove.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah, I think he's I don't he didn't have like the best season at the plate, but
Mm-hmm.
he's still a very good defender,
He's
and
a
I
great
think
fielder.
yeah, I don't think people talk about it enough. I think it's what recognized, I would say, around the community as far as people who keep up with baseball heavily.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he could get finally. Well, this was his rookie season, but I think that he can get some crazy recognition next year if he uh he heats up a little bit with the bat
Yeah.
and gets more of a name for himself.
Yeah, I think his name kind of got lost in the shadows,
Yeah,
because first game of the season he was playing the Cubs. I remember watching it, and he got injured and he was out for an extended period of time. And then, by then there's so many other storylines in the MLB heating up, plus the
Mhm.
Pirates not being a good team. His name just kind of gets lost in there. And but coming into the year, I believe we were both very high on him. I remember I
Yeah.
drafted him in fantasy. I was really excited for him. Um, he's a really solid player and a great fielder, and I would love to see him get a platinum glove. Just don't make those plays against the Cubs. That's all I ask.
Uh, all right, for my next one, I have Joe Adele is an all-star.
I love that one.
Yeah,
I'm on board with that.
I think he's had some plate appearances in the majors. Nothing crazy, obviously. He's only had 250 at bats, but I think I think he's gonna break out next year. I think he's finally getting up there in age as far as like his prime athletic years go. He'll be 23
Hmm.
next year. I think he's got the tools. Obviously, he was a top prospect in baseball for a long time, and
Yeah,
he's going to have some good protection in the lineup if he gets quality at bats, and I don't see any reason why he shouldn't be able to
yeah,
personally.
that's another name. I believe we talked about during the season. His name kind of got lost as well, just because a little bit of an underperforming, season. But he still has raw talent, and he has one of the most beautiful swings in the league. He just looks like a player that should be really good and should pan out.
Yeah,
Just his build and everything. I mean, he's quick as well, and just I'm excited for him. I think we talked about it in the middle of the season. I think I'm a pretty decent fan of him, and I'm hoping he does well. Um, so I love that take for sure. I would love to see him, make
yeah,
the All Star team.
and then next I think you're gonna like this one a lot. Also, I have Shane Baz as top 5 in Cy Young voting.
Oh my God, gimme! I love me
I,
some Shane.
I think there's besides injury, I think there's no reason why he shouldn't be able
No,
to do this. Honestly, if
yeah,
he pitches a full season of
hmm
his full strength, I don't see any reason why he couldn't even. I mean, I could see him winning it personally, but
yeah,
I didn't want to get that bold, so I just
hmm
list the top 5 as a. I mean, that's pretty bold, but
yeah,
I
yeah.
I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, don't write the Rays off. They are up
No.
and coming, even with being a 100-win team,
Hmm.
damn near. Or did they win 100? Am I wrong on that?
They won 100. This is the first time in franchise
Yeah,
history.
pretty crazy. I mean, they're. I feel like they're a team that is top of the line, but still growing. Um,
Yeah, they're
I mean,
inevitable at this point.
yeah, I mean that's crazy. I love that. If we get into mine, first of all, I just want to say relating to the Shane Baz take, since we're talking about the Rays, this wasn't one I wrote down,
Hmm.
but I am pretty confident Wander Franco will at least finish top 5 in MVP voting, which is
Okay, yeah.
not. I don't think it's crazy to say that.
Yeah, he was originally my all-star pick for instead of Joe Adele, but I was like, is that even a hot take? So
Yeah.
I took it off. But yeah, I definitely I mean, I'm not gonna say it's gonna happen for sure, but I
Hmm.
I give it a good shot for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, he's got every single tool there is and more, along
Hmm.
with him showing that he belongs at 20. So, I mean,
Yeah.
the sky's the limit for him.
Yeah. Now getting into my hot takes. The first one, I don't even know if this is considered a hot take or if I don't know. We'll see what you think.
Okay.
I think you'll kind of agree. The Giants will finish third in the NL West, and it won't be particularly close, in my opinion.
Okay. Before I comment, is this chalked up to them not playing well or the other two teams just being that good?
I
Or is it a mix
think,
of both?
okay, the Dodgers are going to be there. I
Okay.
think the Padres, with the managerial move they just made, plus
Returning
just the
Mike Brown.
talent, yeah, just the talent they have,
Mhm.
I could see maybe some more additions, maybe a trade.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
no reason the Padres can't get up there. And I just think this kind of hinges on the fact that I mean Buster Posey just retired. Obviously they have Joey Bart, but Posey does more for a team mentally than you might think. I mean he's a leader. He's the face of the franchise.
He's got
That's a
grit.
he's got grit. Yeah, he's a really important player. Um, and then again, we'll have our free agency predictions later. I don't think Chris Bryant remains a Giant, and I also don't think they keep DeSclafani or Gosman, meaning one of them probably will resign, but they're not going to get both of them, which is just a huge
Okay.
hit. They have a lot of people I love. Camilo Duval he might be a top 3, top 5 reliever. He might break out. Um, a lot of we'll get to another Giants player I love very soon, but the Giants are a good team. I think the Dodgers and I think the Padres are going to surprise a lot of people just based on how bad of a season they had.
Okay. Yeah. I I kind of want to talk about the Padres for a second, if that's
Yeah,
cool with
go
you.
ahead. Yeah.
So I was pretty, I was pretty critical of
Yep.
their season last year, especially with Jace Tingler. I thought that he wasn't the right manager for the job, and don't get me wrong, I don't think managers play a crazy role in baseball,
Mhm.
but I just don't think he was a very good manager for them last year, and I felt like it was pretty clear and obvious for everyone.
Yep.
So I think Bob Melvin is going to do wonders for that team, especially the clubhouse. I
Mhm.
know that Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis's argument was blown out of proportion and all that
Yeah.
stuff, but I feel like there's a lot of personalities on that team just in general, and
Yeah.
I think he'll do a lot better with managing them, and I think that team is just too talented to be held down 2 seasons in a row.
Yeah.
And
Clevenger's also coming back. That's a
yeah,
forgotten
exactly.
name.
Yeah, I mean, so they have Snell, Darvish, Clevenger as their top three,
Yeah.
along with
Musgrove performed the best out
oh
of all
yeah,
of them.
I honestly forgot about him. And
Yeah.
then they have guys like Dinelson Lamet, Chris
Yeah.
Paddock.
Yeah.
I mean, who obviously are inconsistent, both of them in their own way, but
Mhm.
they're still arms that they're very talented. Along with the guy like Mackenzie Gore, who could come up next year or something like that. So
Yeah.
they got options. I think they're going to work on the bullpen a lot this offseason, in my opinion, because Mark
Yeah.
Melancon at the back end really isn't what it isn't ideal.
Yeah.
So I think that's I don't see them not winning 90 games at least next year. So I think and with the Giants most likely taking a step back due to age and losing people in free agency,
Yeah.
I think I agree with that heavily,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah, for sure. This one also coincides with a free agent acquisition, so it really depends on this. I
Okay.
think the Tigers signed Carlos Correa to a 10-year deal, but that's not the hot take. The hot take
Okay.
is they at least make the ALDS. I think with the acquisition of Tucker Barnhart plus some prospects coming up, some good arms that they got a decent amount of hitters that have showed up. You add Correa and a couple other guys, maybe they make bigger steps than you would think. They're not winning the division. I think the White Sox have it. I think the Tigers, they impressed me in the second half of the year. I'm not gonna lie, for being the Tigers. I mean,
Yeah.
they definitely did well, and I think there's a chance they sneak into the wild card, and then you got to win one game. That's it.
See, I can get behind the wild card thing, but going farther than that is really tough for me.
I mean, it's one game. Anything can
I
happen.
know, I
That's my
know.
philosophy.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But I don't know. I see a team like because the AL East is so tough.
Yeah.
You got to think. someone out of the Rays, Yankees, well, obviously someone's going to win the East, and then
Hmm.
those three other teams, at least two of those teams are going to still be very good. So
Hmm.
those like it's going to be tough fighting with the AL East, and then I mean you can always expect the Oakland A's to be hanging around, and who knows what the Mariners do this offseason since they
Hmm.
were competitive last year. So I mean I see where you're going with it. It's just tough. Watching them a lot, they impress me, but I just feel like they're still a year away, if that because
Yeah.
I I just two or three of their young pitchers would have to take really massive steps in my
Yeah.
opinion
Yeah. That's
because
why I call it a hot take. I don't think
fair
it's gonna
enough.
happen,
That's
but
fair. That's fair.
I'm just
I,
putting it out there just in case so I seem smart later.
yeah, that's fair. I just have to I have to shit on one of your opinions at least.
Yeah.
So.
No, I can see that, especially when it's a division rival.
Yeah,
This
can't be a tough
one
thing.
this one might not even be that hot of a take. Um, I think Logan Webb finishes with a sub 2 ERA, leading him to his first Cy Young title, even though the Giants won't make the playoffs.
Okay. Um. Okay. I mean, I can get behind that.
He's just filthy.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna
I
go
mean, like,
crazy.
I'm trying to think of me like trying to say anything otherwise, but he
I,
is. I mean, as long
he's
as he's
like
healthy and he's pitching, I could definitely see it.
he's like approaching considering like buying at least a jersey shirt or something. He's got to prove it to me a little more, but
Big steps.
I'm a big fan of this guy, and I mean I don't think it's that out of the realm.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's going to be people who say Degrom, and I would probably agree with you. A healthy Degrom should win Cy Young most likely, but you never know how the arm issue is going to come back. And I mean Logan Webb was just ridiculous.
You think
Nothing more to say.
he's got 2015 Jake Arrieta in him or what?
Maybe not that good, but no. I mean maybe. With the stuff I've seen, there's no reason why he couldn't at least contend for Cy Young.
Hmm.
Going on to this next one. This one might be the spiciest of them all. Maybe the Tigers one, but this one's a little spicy. The Angels will
You already
sign
probably lost
will
me.
sign Max Scherzer, and what are they going to do with that? Are they gonna win the wild card? Are they going to be in the hunt? No, they're going to win the AL West. Give me that lineup with a healthy Trout, with a healthy Rendon, with all the
You're
people who
asking a
stepped up
lot
this year.
just saying those two.
With Adele as an all-star,
That's
then you
fair.
have Otani and Scherzer, and maybe they had some arms in the bullpen. They're Here's my thing.
Need to add arms in the bullpen, but
Oh,
keep
for
going.
sure. They're You're the GM of the Angels right now.
Hmm.
You see, you're wasting these years with Otani and Trout.
Yeah.
Why not just do what the Braves did and just go all in? I don't understand.
You would think. You would really think, but
Yeah.
I mean, I don't
Do
know.
you agree that their lineup is pretty good?
No, yeah, no, their lineup is very good. I
Yeah.
just you're banking on healthy Rendon, healthy Trout, healthy Otani.
Oh yeah.
I know Otani was healthy this year, but
Mhm.
more he's been more hurt than not in his career. I mean, I'm not gonna say he's gonna get hurt, obviously, but you know what I mean. Like you're banking on three guys to stay healthy, and
Mhm.
if one of them aren't, then I feel like the team's kind of I don't know. I mean,
I
I guess
mean,
if Joe Adele takes a step up, I could
mhm.
see what you're saying. I could see this being a thing though, just because of the Astros losing Correa most likely. So
Yeah, I don't think the hitting's an issue. I think this all depends on what they do pitching wise.
no, yeah,
And
yeah,
Max is a huge step, obviously. That's kind of a long shot, but it's kind of in the realm of possibilities. The
yeah.
bullpen's going to need to be shaped up. I believe Raisel Iglesias is a free agent. I don't know if they want to share him up or get some more arms. There's a decent amount of arms out there, but
Yeah.
the A's, I'm not really super confident on them. They might. I heard they're exploring trading Matt Olson possibly, so they might be moving towards being maybe not rebuilding, but more mediocre than we thought. The Astros probably losing Correa, maybe losing Verlander, maybe losing some other guys. The Astros are going to be there for sure, but an obvious downgrade. And then the Mariners, who I think are going to be pretty good. I think they're going to be really good in 2-3 years. But I think they're going to be pretty good. But will it be enough? That's just the question. Do they make any moves? Um, we'll never know. So
Yeah,
I would root for this take. To be honest, I wouldn't mind seeing this. I would love to see Trout and Otani in the playoffs.
yeah. I definitely see what you're getting at. I'm
Hmm.
not I'm not I'm not opposed to it. I just think their pitching needs quite a bit of work.
Yeah, this really depends on
They've
what they
whiffed a
do.
lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Mad Max is the first step. If they don't even get him, or I mean, I don't even know what other top of the line could even. I mean, maybe like a Robbie Ray, but you need to get Max Scherzer.
It
You
doesn't
just need
feel
it.
like Robbie Ray doesn't feel like
No,
he had a
you
great
need the guy.
season, but it just I don't know. You can't bank on Robbie Ray when the rest
Hmm.
of the staff is not nearly as consistent as it
Yeah.
should be. That's what scares me also. Even
Hmm.
if you go out and sign a big time guy like that, like
Yeah.
say like a Carlos Rodon, that doesn't really I don't know.
It's going
You
to
don't
be a move that's going to be. It's going to need to be make the big splash, but then also get the supporting cast. It's not. It's not Max Scherzer solves all the problems. It's Scherzer, maybe some cheap guy. I don't know.
or
Danny Duffy or
Day
some.
Silvani.
I think honestly, I think it might be asking too much for them to get both.
Okay.
I'm not sure how much money he's gonna get because I'm actually a decent fan of him. I think he's good.
Yeah, no, he's very solid. I just wasn't sure what you were reaching for with
I
that.
mean, I don't know their money situation. I believe Scherzer's asking for 3 years. Um,
Yeah, he's gonna want. I mean, he's gonna want 35 to 40 AAV most
yeah.
likely. And he'll probably. I mean, he will get that.
Hmm.
Um, I know they have big money tied up in Trout. Obviously, they have big money tied up in Justin Upton. I believe they have.
Hmm.
Pujols' contract is still on the books.
I believe
I'm
so.
not sure on that. And they have big money. Rendon, Trout, Upton. Um, yeah, Pujols. I mean, that's a lot of money right there alone.
Hmm.
And they're gonna have to pay Raisel Iglesias if they even want any chance in the ninth inning.
Yeah.
Unless I
Unless
mean,
they can get
obviously
Yeah,
someone
unless
else.
they can
But
string like three guys for cheaper who are still
yeah,
decent, but you need the one guy. Maybe they go out and get Kirby Yates or something along those lines, but
yeah.
who knows? And then the last one, similar to what you said, the Mets win the NL East and make I said and make the NLCS.
Okay.
Just a talented roster. I think they're gonna get some people. I'm gonna keep those a secret, so tune into the future podcast to find those out. But we've already talked about that. And then I just had one for fun, a little bit biased. I think the Cubs make the playoffs. And I think Brennan Davis wins Rookie of the Year.
All right. You wanna elaborate a little bit? I know it's
um,
biased, but I want to hear your reasoning either way.
all right, let me crank out a little bit of the knowledge here. All right. First of all, I think
I'll try to keep a straight face. Keep going.
okay. Jed Hoyer said he's going to make some moves. All right, and I do
Okay.
not want to take his word lightly. Um, we have a roster that is obviously a lot worse post deadline than pre deadline, but I think there are some bright spots. We saw some random come ups, maybe some things that won't um, carry over.
Yeah.
Things like Frank Schwindel, who the hell knows what he's going to do, but it was positive to see him. Um, we got some young guys coming up. We got a decent haul. I think people like Brennan Davis come up, maybe Braylon Marquez and some other guys who can help out. But just looking at the free agency market, I think they do enough. And I'm not saying they win the division. I'm just saying they make the playoffs, maybe a wild card team. Um, I really think in my heart we get, and the first two are complete long shots: Correa, Seager, Story, or Baez. And I'm really thinking they get Baez back. Um, you can keep smiling, do whatever you want.
I'm not making fun of this. I'm trying to listen to your aspirations.
All
Keep going.
right, so we get Baez back. That's already another big bat in the lineup. Now, would you got to hear me out here.
I'm listening. I'm listening.
Now
I'm trying to keep a straight face.
you got Schwindel, Madrigal, Horner, Wisdom, Contreras. You got potentially Brennan Davis in the outfield. You got Ian Happ, resurgence, and then you look at things like the pitching staff. A lot of young guys I really like. Justin Steele, Alzolay, obviously. Hendricks can maybe have a bounce back year. And then you just need. I think they get the big guy, and then I think they get someone. I've been talking about this a lot, like a DeSclafani or maybe a Marcus Stroman, someone to help out there. If it's not someone big like the shortstops I said, I think we definitely get someone along the lines of a Chris Taylor type. I would love to see him there. Um, I don't know. I think because of what the fan base expects, we used to be the lovable losers. I think we have passed that threshold, and I think the people, all bias aside, I think the people in the upper management are thinking we cannot let this go down the same way it was before, where like it's a huge drought. It's kind of like the way I see it is the Cubs are like after the deadline, they're like slowly drowning. I think Jed's gonna throw the life the a little what do you call it? Why am I
The life,
tripping?
I don't the life jacket. I don't know.
Oh,
Uh,
sure, the raft, and then
okay.
the Cubs are gonna hang on to it and slowly bring themselves up and just peek their head in the postseason.
Okay.
And
Okay. I I can
as
respect
a
it.
Sox fan, I know you probably think otherwise, but
No, no,
tell me I'm
no.
not crazy.
Don't say as a Sox fan like I'm gonna be biased against them. Like,
Oh, you're smiling the whole time, making me feel
well,
bad.
no, because it just because it was just so funny. Like I could just see the glimmer in your eyes. Like
I am so optimistic. You have no idea.
you were talking yourself into the take as you were like coming up with what you were going to say. Like you,
Well, I wasn't prepared to explain myself, but
I I wanted to hear your reasoning, and I mean I see what you're saying. I don't think they're going to be like I didn't think they were gonna ever drop to like a 60-win team because they didn't offload every single thing. They still
mhm,
kept a little bit, and I don't think they're the worst team ever or something like that. There's the Pittsburgh Pirates exist, so
mhm.
um, I think the Cubs could easily win like 80 games or so next year.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'd
I
be
mean,
fine with that.
depending on what they do in free agency, I mean, I could easily see them getting Baez back. I think personally, I don't want to spoil too much, but there's another guy in that group that I think you guys get instead.
Mhm,
But I think it depends on the resurgence, not the resurgence, the emergence of the players that showed some flashes this year. I think so.
yeah,
It's a really hard team to predict. You're probably the hardest team to predict in the NL Central at this point, just because of the weird players that did something
mhm,
last year. You know what I mean? Because
yeah,
it's so volatile sometimes. Like especially guys coming up and just making a quick splash. You never know what's real and what isn't. So
yeah.
I it's a big wait and see for me, but I'm not gonna completely hate on it. I
I
just
feel
found
like
I just found it funny. That's all.
yeah. No, I just wanted to say that for fun, but since we're talking about it,
That's fair.
I feel like what needs to happen is at least stay afloat until the trade deadline, and then
Okay.
that's where the game changing move comes in. If we're showing flashes of being someone who could potentially make some sort of run, I think in the eyes of the upper management and all those people, they want to capitalize on it now, based off what we kind of lost out on, not having multiple huge runs, I guess, since our World Series run. But look, I mean, our talent level is miles above teams like the Pirates. Like and we just gave away some literally our top three players, damn near.
Yeah.
And if we can get one of them back, or just kind of add in places where we need to, and the farm system's not bad at all. It's not top of the line compared to some
No,
other
no,
teams.
it's above average.
Yeah, so I mean, just thinking of some people who can come in, I think Brendan Davison. I'm such a fan, and I should be, as I've like if you had him on in your minor league roster, you would love him too. Like it's one of those guys where like
No,
your
yeah.
expectations are going to be so high, he probably won't meet them. But I'm
Mm.
just waiting for him to come up because I really think he's going to just dominate.
Yeah, my favorite out of your guys' farm system is definitely Braylon Marquez. I've been
Hmm.
keeping up with him for a while, probably for about 2-3 years now. I've just been super interested in his traits and abilities,
Yeah,
especially that 80 grade fastball that I've just been I've been enamored by, especially coming from a left-handed pitcher. So,
yeah.
I think there's some decent potential in the system. But you guys also have some high floor guys like the guy you guys picked in the first round this year, Jordan Wicks,
Hmm.
um, who may not be an ace at any point, but he'll be a solid 3, maybe 2 at best.
Yeah,
Who will most likely make it up to the majors pretty quickly. And I mean, who knows if he does good enough, he could be up in September this year. So
yeah.
you
I'm
never
just
know.
watching a lot of games. Obviously, you probably haven't watched as much of these random guys than me, like considering like people like Justin Steele or Alzolay. You already know I'm a huge Alzolay fan, and you would know what I'm talking about when you're watching someone like him because you're you're smart in this way, like
Huh?
a lot of hardcore fans are. You
Uh-huh.
can pick out like the little things, or
Yeah.
like oh, he made this pitch there. It's that's better than what he did last game. He's
Uh-huh.
not he's not hanging his slider here. He's using his fastball more here on this side. Like just random stuff where like a normal baseball fan would be like, oh, he gave up 2 home runs. He sucks. But in my mind, I think he gave up home runs. That's an issue that needs to be fixed. But if you think back to the third inning when he was facing Paul Goldschmidt, he painted this fastball here where the last at bat he let it fly over
Yeah.
the plate. Like it's little
Yeah.
things like I'm seeing improvement, and Justin Steele to me is electric as well.
Yeah.
Those two guys are going to be huge for me.
It's kind of the thing that I'm big on this personally with a lot of things. It's process over production.
Oh yeah.
Especially early in pitchers' careers,
Hmm.
especially. You see them doing a lot of the right things. I mean, I guess you could say this for young hitters also. Say a pitcher comes out and yeah, like you were saying, they slowly get better at the little things every start,
Hmm.
and eventually, as they get a full seasons under their belt or a couple seasons under their belt, and their stuff. If I mean, his stuff is there, no, undoubtedly. Uh, I mean, some of his pitches have some crazy movement on it, and his
Yeah.
fastball is pretty solid. I like his stuff a lot. I think he's got a good presence on the mound. Um,
Yeah.
I
I love
think,
that as well.
yeah,
He holds himself very well.
yeah, I think he tunnels his pitches very well. From what I've seen of him, I think he's gonna be a staple in the rotation at some point. Well, I know he's in the rotation now, but I think he's gonna be like one of the guys.
Hmm.
Could be starting even next year, depending on how big of a leap he makes.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, Along with other guys. I know Ed Howard's got a long way to go.
Yeah.
I like Alexander Canario. You
Hmm.
guys acquired him from the Giants, I
Yeah.
believe. Uh, yeah, I like him a lot. I think he has some really nice raw tools. He kind of reminds me a bit of Miker Adolfo, who is in the White Sox system. He's been
Yeah.
injured a lot, but he has a lot of raw tools, and I like guys like that because their upside is enormous.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, going to Kyle Hendricks, a pretty below average year for him, pretty inconsistent. But
Yeah.
if you look at his years before that, they were all very consistent with, he had the really good year of I think it was like a 2.17 ERA. But let's just say he's been floating around like the threes to maybe a little bit of the mid threes most of his career, which is definitely something where you could maybe expect he's getting up there in age. He's a different type of pitcher, but you can maybe expect some form of improvement a little bit. He's probably not going to be the guy anymore, but there's no reason why he can't post a little bit better of an ERA, just given into account how he pitches and some minor adjustments based on his track record as well. I think it was just a really bad year for him, and I think he could bounce back in a way that isn't phenomenal, but at least it helps out the team.
Yeah, I think yeah. I mean, I'm not really worried about him personally.
Hmm.
Um, I think he's the least of the team's worries as far as question marks go.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff we can talk about, but we'll just wrap it up. Make sure to tune into our next episode if you want to hear about our free agent predictions. You can let us know yours down below. Let us know what you thought about the World Series and your thoughts there. Make sure to check out all the socials at Pitch Catch Pod, especially the TikTok. TikTok's going kind of crazy, so make sure to join the boat before it sails. Thank you for listening, and have a wonderful day or night whenever you're listening to us. Peace.